Alright guys, hope you're all doing well, hope you're all keeping safe. Short video, well, it's meant to be a short video, I don't know if it will be because I do ramble on. I want to apologise for my hair because, yeah, I'm currently working and doing this at the same time. But I wanted to jump on this straight away because this is news. Basically, a lot of people, myself included, have been talking about the possibility of a level increase to 50. And this came from the leaks that we had on Monday, where the person or the Redditor who posted said that we would be getting a level cap increase with year 3. What I wanted to do was to kind of go over each point in that leak and talk about what I thought about the leak and what stuff was coming out. And that first one that I actually covered was the level 50, which I covered yesterday, and I talked about why I think level 50 would be good. I also talked about why I thought level 50 might be bad. We did a poll here on YouTube. We did a poll on Twitter as well to see what the general consensus is. And after 4,000 votes from both YouTube and Twitter combined, the overall consensus was actually that people wouldn't mind a level 50 increase. I think the average was about 60-40 that people wouldn't mind a level 50 increase for various reasons, which I'll go over in a minute. But basically, the reason I want to come on here and just do this video quickly, I hope, is that we've had an answer from Ubi-Johan to this level 50 increase, where he's basically said, just jumping in to say that we have no current plans to increase the level cap in the upcoming content. More information on what lies ahead will be coming soon. So this is confirmation. Now I have checked out this Redditor. This is the actual Ubi-Johan. So this isn't, an imposter or fake or anything. This is news. I mean, this. So there you go. I mean, the level 50 is not coming. There is no plans for a level cap with the new content. And I know a lot of people, especially the people that commented on my YouTube poll. There was 150 plus comments. The majority, I would say 145 of those were people who wouldn't be happy with a level cap increase for various reasons that are understandable. I know those people are going to be very, very happy to hear this. I'm happy and not. So I'm happy because there's a lot of people that make a good point about this level cap increase, and it's that people have been grinding this game for so long to get the builds that they need, and then it's all going to be taken away because of a level cap increase. And I made the comparison yesterday between this game and something like Destiny, and a lot of other games which do have level cap increases yearly. In that this game in particular is so stingy when it comes to the gear that you want, right? The drop that you want. To get the piece of gear that you want with the right attributes and the right talents it's astronomically low. Even to this day, even with recal, even with optimization, all that sort of stuff, to get the gear that you want is still astronomically low. So you could be grinding for that perfect Wyvern backpack with Spark or whatever. You could be grinding for that chest piece that you really want with Headhunter or whatever. You could be grinding for that stuff for 6, 8, 10, 12 months and still not get that piece of gear. Even with targeted loot, you could still not get that piece of gear, right? And so with that in mind, I reckon a lot of people, even though they may have had a lot of people would have probably only just got the pieces of gear that they want, and then to be told that in a couple of months you're going to lose all of it, I can see why that would hurt a lot of people, especially when you then have to optimize that piece of gear, right? And the optimization for a lot of people, it takes a long time. Even for myself, when I was grinding it a lot, and I don't grind it as much now, I'm kind of on a semi-hiatus while I wait for the new content. But when I was grinding it a lot, when TU12 came out, it was still difficult. Now, they have made changes to optimization, so it's much easier now to optimize your gear. But just in general, if you compare those layers to something like Destiny, then there's no comparison, right? It's much easier to get the gear that you want in Destiny than it is in something like the Division 2, which is why having a level cap increase yearly or even seasonally in Destiny 2 is more bearable than it is in something like this. So that's the comparison that I made. With that said, I'm one of those people that love a level cap increase. I love that increase where I have to grind for that new gear. Even if that gear is old gear, right? So in Destiny, for example, one of my favourite parts is actually the light level. And there'll be a lot of people that hate it. And the system itself, I understand, and I don't particularly like it. But I like the grind, right? I like having to get up to that 300 from 250, right? And so that's just what I love about looters, and I think that's the core. That's one of the core staples of any looter shooter genre, is that it's to be expected to have a light increase or a level increase at some point. We had it with Warlords of New York, and we're going to be if this next year 3 stuff comes out, and if it is a DLC, it's probably not going to come out to at least July time. I imagine June, July time, maybe even a bit later. Then you're looking at 18 months since Warlords for you to have the gear that you want and to use the gear that you want. So to me personally, that seems like an awfully long time to get the gear that you want, optimize it, and then use that content. And so to then have a level 50 increase, to me, would be absolutely fine. For me, personally. And I know a lot of people feel the same way. They just love that grind. That's just what people like to do. They like to get that gear, have it removed in a month or 2, and then start again. That's what a lot of people like. And that's why the polls were the way they were. That's why people, the majority of people said that they were happy with a level 50 increase. But it also comes back to content as well. For me personally, I love new content. I love game modes. But one of the best aspects of that new content and those new game modes are actually grinding for gear. That the loot side of stuff is one of the biggest reasons that people play that stuff, and that kind of is removed when you don't have a level increase. A little bit that fun there that people like, that's kind of removed when you don't have a level increase. And if they're not having a level increase, which they're not, then they are going to have to really, really consider how to make those game modes appealing. Because even if you've got a really good replayable game mode, if you're not getting rewarded for it, then people aren't going to play it. So they're going to have to really tie a lot of loot, a lot of good loot to those game modes. They might have to bring in some new stuff. People have been saying, why don't they bring back something like classified gear sets or something similar to what we got in the Division, just to give more power, just more urgency for players to get in and start playing those game modes. And I totally agree. If you look at something like the Summit, one of the main reasons, aside from the aesthetics and just the monotonous of it, the monotony of it, that's the right word, is one of the main reasons that people don't like playing is you got one mask and you could get an exotic, which you got really easily. So there was really no reason to play. There's no incentive to play there. When the commendations come out, that was more of an incentive for those people. But for the most part, people play these games for loot. And so if there's no loot tied to that stuff, then they're not going to play it. And there needs to be a considerable amount of it. There needs to be stuff that's really rare, the stuff that you really, it's going to take hours, hundreds of hours to actually get. There needs to be that kind of carrot on a stick. Otherwise, people aren't going to play it. And they are going to have to do that here. Because just giving us story missions and a couple of new missions and then, some seasons with whatever, that's not going to work. So they really need to consider, if they're not having a level cap increase, how are they going to make sure that players keep playing? Because again, one of the main reasons why there is a level increase is because it does prolong the longevity of content. Because people are then, you go into content at almost starting again, so that content is difficult, right? Whereas, and then over time, you build yourself up, and then that content becomes much easier. If we're getting new content and we're already at max power, then that content likely is going to be pretty easy to get through. People are going to get bored and they're going to stop playing. And that's one of the main reasons why people like to have, that level cap increase as well. I said this was going to be a short video, but I did want to kind of put across the points that I put across in yesterday's video. I'm a little bit concerned that having no level increase will mean that players will jump in for a week or 2. They'll have that honeymoon kind of period where they'll be like, yes, we got survival. Yes, we got, maybe not last time, but we got resistance coming back. Yes, we got this new stuff. But then if they don't tie any good loot to it and a lot of it and that carrot, then after a couple of weeks, people are going to stop playing. Because let's not forget, guys, survival is amazing, right? But if you were playing the Division 1 after a couple of weeks of survival launching, there weren't many people playing it. Because it's an amazing mode. There's no doubt about it. But it's an amazing mode you play once every couple of weeks. Maybe. And plus there was no loot really tied to it. So people didn't really want to play it. And that's the same with Resistance. Now Resistance did have like a leaderboard and stuff. But even then, after a couple of weeks, people really didn't interact with it that much. The loot wasn't great and stuff. So That's what I saw, and I could see a similar thing happening here because of the fact that there is no level cap increase. Also, if there is no level cap increase, then I don't know if we are getting a new DLC, because it kind of goes hand in hand that we get a new DLC, a new level cap increase. That's how most looter shooter games work. If you don't like that, then I guess my question is, do you like looter shooters? Because that's how looter games work. That's how they've historically always worked. Unless Massive are trying something different here, which I don't think they should be at the moment. I think they should be sticking to a formula that's worked for years, for decades. Then I'm not sure that it's going to work here. But that's it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Like I said, I think a lot of people are going to be happy with this. The vocal minority, it appears from the polls, the vocal minority that don't want a level cap increase, I think they're going to be very, very happy. I know a lot of people are going to be happy about this. I think a lot of people that voted yes are not bothered about not having one, if that makes sense. So I think the overall consensus will be that most people are happy about this. I'm not bothered, personally. But I am concerned that if they're not doing this, then they're going to have to really make sure that this new content delivers and it keeps that carrot on a stick for people to keep playing. And if they don't do that, then this content is going to be done in a couple of weeks. And that'll be it, right? That's my major concern. Like I said yesterday, I would have preferred if they did a level cap increase, but they had some sort of infusion system, similar to what Destiny does, where you can infuse your old gear up to the new cap with some resources. Plus, they add new gear in at that level 50 range, which is more powerful. And that way, you're not kind of chasing old gear, because the new gear is actually more powerful. So you're actually chasing new gear that's more powerful. Plus they add new gear as well, if that makes sense. So there's more new stuff. That's what I would have preferred, but there we go, guys. Thanks very much for watching. I don't know if I'm going to be putting out a video tomorrow. I'm a little bit concerned now that this leak is definitely not true. But I may go back over and have a look at some of the stuff from that and just talk about it in videos. I did want to talk about a poll I put out where I asked people if they had to choose between like story modes and game modes, and story and game modes and missions and stuff in a poll the other day. I did ask what people would choose if they only had to pick one. The results, not concerning, but again surprising. So I do want to go over that, and I may do that tomorrow. It might be next week, but until the next one, guys, epic out.